Okay, so this is probably best done by doing a screen recording. I can't actually do any thing fancy in terms of drawing on the screen, but what we want to do is get the average of these three values, and we're going to put that average into there. Now, we know another name for average is mean, so when you click that cell, we're going to go down to the bottom here, and we're going to type in equals mean of A1, and you can actually just drag that like that, press the brackets, press enter, and there's your number. If you're wondering, like, I don't want to type mean, you can go to calc, list statistics, and click mean there. Just want to show you what this formula looks like. Can you see it says mean and it says A1 colon A4? That means we've actually gone too far. We need A1 to A3. So back one to A3. So that just tells you a range for some values, okay? And then what you can do is you just grab the corner of that, and if it goes like this, that's wrong. It does take a little bit of skill sometimes. You want to stretch it out like this. And so now we're going to take that formula, and we're just going to flow that formula down that column. And all you need to do is go edit, fill, and fill range, and it'll say okay. And there you go. Now look, that one's A1 to A3. If we click the next one, it's A2 to A4, A3 to A5. It's doing that thing that we want it to move along with the mean. So this column is now a 3 mean moving, whatever you call it, smoothing. Now, the next one we want to try is to do with 5. Now, with 5, you're going to be choosing these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, yes? So those 5, and the middle of that is the 800 I got there. So it's going to be starting there. Remember, you get a bit lossy, so the first two cells are going to be blank. And exactly the same things. We want the mean, and we want the mean of these 5. Now, this is actually a good skill to learn because it's very similar to what you do in Excel. And Excel is definitely something you should be using in the future in your jobs for a whole range of reasons. So you've got equals mean A1 colon A5. That just means from A1 to A5, and that's how they do it in computer language or spreadsheet language. And so now we've got a thing that says 3000. And we do exactly the same thing. We just want to fill that down. So again, you got to make sure you get the right. No, that's not it. There we go. And we're going to be one shorter again, and then we go edit, fill range. Okay. All right. So that's 3 mean in column B and 5 mean in column C. Okay, so I'm switching modes here so I can just comment a bit on what we've done so far. So this is just the raw data, all right? Now, the idea of doing all this is if you change any number in there, it'll flow through to the other columns. This one is the 3 mean smoothing, and this one is 5 mean smoothing, all right? And so you need to take the average of these 3 and put it into here, and then you move down, and let's do another color. So then you move to this one, these 3, and that gives you that value. All right, and just by filling down the range with that formula that we showed you, which is to write mean brackets A1 colon A3 like that, that went into the cell B2 up here. Let's highlight that. That went into this cell here, and then you filled it down, and that's how you got the 3 mean. So same thing happened when we did 5 mean. So 5 mean, you just did this cell this time, and for that cell you had to say mean is A1 to A5 because it's a 5 mean, and then you go to that edit, fill range, and fill down. Remembering, of course, that this cell and this cell remain empty, and so do these two cells. These are the lossy bits of your cells. All right. All right, before I go on and do the trickier ones, I thought I'd explain what we're up to so far. This is in column A, is just the raw data that we're going to be using each time. And then in column B, we've done the 3 mean smoothing, right? And that means if you do the mean, you go A1 plus A2 plus A3, and you divide that by 3. And that's exactly the same as writing the formula mean of A1 to A3. That's just that first cell, but then when you filled it down, it just moved that formula along. So it does that moving mean for you, which is quite nice. That's why you use spreadsheets. But just to remind you that it is a bit lossy, so you'd lose a data point here and here. All right. So if we look at the next column, that was the 5 mean. And so for 5 mean, you have to go A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 plus A5. Divide that all by 5, which is exactly the same as saying the mean of A1 to A5. And that was the first formula we put in this cell here. And then we filled that down, and that just shifts it along. So the next cell will be A2 to A6, then A3 to A7, etc., etc. And again, it's a bit lossy. So when you do these things, you lose the first 2 cells and the last 2 cells. All right. So that's what we've done so far. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do into column D, we're going to go do the 2 mean smoothing. And so what we need to be doing is taking from our raw data these 2 values, and that's average. Remember that average is on the line if you watch my previous videos, which I think 2 people did. That's optimistic. And then we take these 2 values, which gives an average on this line here, and then they have to be averaged again, which is what we call centering. Let's do a different color, to here. Okay, so the red part is you say A1 plus A2 divided by 2 to find the mean of the 2 red ones. Then you say A2 plus A3 divided by 2, and that's the green box. And then you got to take those 2, add them up, and divide by 2 to do the centering. Lots of algebra there. Let me do that algebra for you. So A1 plus, now you can see we've got 2 A2s, that's why it's 2A2, and then there's an A3, and if you take everything, divide by 2, and then divide by 2 again, that's the same as dividing by 4. So the formula that we're going to put into the blue cell I've got up there, I'll highlight them. So the formula we're going to put up in there is going to be this formula, and that's how that's going to work. So when you see me doing that formula in a moment, that's why. It's just the same thing as doing 2 averages and then centering, which is another average. So, okay, so let's put in a recording of me doing this for the 2 mean. So we're going to go here, and we said we're going to put in a formula. So this is an equal. I'm going to use a brackets here. And you can just tap the cells. So A1 plus 2A2 plus A3, and then we divide that by 4 and press enter. There's our value. Click back on the cell. You can see the formula's quite right there. And then, oh no, do that drag thing. It's going to be longer, same length as the 3 mean. And you go edit, fill range. Okay, and so this one is the 2 mean smoothing. So far we have got the 3 mean, the 5 mean, and the 2 mean. So we're going to do 4 mean in the next column, E. Just going up by order of difficulty, if you're wondering when we're going 3, 5, 2, 4. So we need to take these 4 values, and we're going to shoot that across to there. But see, it's on the line, the middle. And then we're going to take these 4 values, and they average out to this point here. And then we've got to center them onto this square here. So the formula is going to be, so the red part is A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4, all divided by 4. And then the green one is going to be A2 plus A3 plus A4 plus A5, all divided by 4. And then we're going to add those two up and divide by 2 to center them. And if we summarize that into algebra, you've got you've got again 2A2, there's one there and one there, plus 2A3, because there's one here and one here, plus 2A4 here and here, plus just the 1A5, and that all has to be divided by 8. So that's the formula that we're going to put in there, and then we just to fill it down. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start again over here. It's the same sort of positioning that we have for the 5 mean smoothing. And we say we're going to put in a formula, so we press the equals, and it's going to be A1 plus, and you can just either type it or you can just tap it. And you can also notice at the top here, they give you the letters to make it easier for you to do what they call cell references. So it's 2A2 plus 2A3 plus 2A4 plus A5, A5 eventually, and that should be correct. And then you divide that by 8, because you're dividing by 4, then divided by 2. And I haven't done enough brackets apparently. I didn't do a bracket at the front. That would help. So if you ever get those error messages, there we go. That's our thing. Then we grab that thing here. No, it's going to do that annoying thing. There we go. Move like that. And we go edit, fill range, OK. And that's your 5 mean. Now you might be saying, why did I do all that? Well, the thing is, you are perfectly allowed to take your calculator in with this. It does not have to be cleared when you enter a SAC. It does not have to be cleared when you enter an exam. So if I take one of these values and change it to 700, like that, everything changes. So the 2, the 4, everything changed. That was needed that formula. If I make this, make it a really obvious number, so I mean it's at 11,000. There you go, 11,000. See how a whole bunch of numbers changed. So you only have to change the column A, and then remember which ones are which. The 3, 5, 2, 4. And you'll be fine. And if you need more points, you can just fill range down on any of these things on the formulas. So once it's set up, just leave it in your calculator and you'll be fine. Now,